Hey everyone! So this video might be a little bit different than what I usually post, but when this gets posted it will be on Pirate101's 10th birthday. If you didn't know, Pirate101 is an MMORPG game that was released on October 15th, 2012. You play as an adolescent human pirate in the Spiral, sailing the skyways, finding lost treasure, and exploring exotic worlds. This game quickly became my favorite online game, and I decided it would only be proper to give the game a well-earned tribute for having been online for 10 years. In this documentary, I will assume that you already know the plot and the lore and the storyline of the game, so I don't have to explain it all over again to you. Anyways, let's dive in and take a look at the history of Pirate101. Every game has to go through a lengthy development phase, and Pirate101 was no exception. The King's Isle blog posted videos showing early phases of Pirate101 combat. Battleboard grid style and general combat concepts are clearly visible. This early prototype definitely was inspired by the Fire Emblem grid-based combat system, with the current iteration in the game having a more unique flavor. The article, which I have linked below, describes the options as attack, move, wait, defend, and power, which evolved into the special cards, pass option, move, and natural attack system seen today. The second video here definitely shows some more of the Pirate101 flavor we see today, and the familiar sights of Cool Ranch are more developed. Your ship could just sail up to an enemy ship and engage in deck combat instead of the broadside ship combat with cannons we see now today. Musketeers with guns fired bullets at this time. This likely had to change over to electric muskets to make it more kid-friendly. The final prototype video here displays combat that's nearly identical to what we see today, with lines on the battleboard showing character movement to the target location or enemy. The main thing that changes from here is that everything just looks more polished. Pirate101 was finally announced to the public on April 25th, 2012, with King's Isle Entertainment posting this trailer to their YouTube channel. The trailer shows the perfected and polished gameplay, zones, and combat we see today in a more cinematic fashion. This trailer was the official announcement of the game. No release date was given at the time of the video. However, the game released a beta version on August 3rd, 2012, according to this press release, which I have linked. This was a closed beta, and only a limited number of keys were given out. A community member, once known as Dustin Firegem, ran an unofficial fan site called Gem of the Spiral. He had access to the Pirate101 beta and uploaded some gameplay footage through August and September of 2012, including the Deacon Dungeon, Motherlode Mine, and General So, among many others. The beta contained up through level 50, which was Skull Island, Monquista, Valencia Part 1, Cool Ranch, and Mushu. Combat at this point had notifications on the side alerting you to the amount of damage dealt, which I find pretty cool. So thank you to Dustin for sharing the beta gameplay of Pirate101. During this beta testing time, some players received Marco Polio's map in the mail with a code for a Ninja Pig companion. Not much is known about how people applied to receive these maps, but I think it sounds pretty awesome to get something like that in the mail. The game officially launched in October 2012 with the same 50 levels and zones as in the beta test period. Pets and companions were simpler back then. Pets leveled up with your pirate, and companions could be revived at a life fountain if defeated in combat. The paywall occurred right after the Presidio quest, when pirates were roughly around level 7 or 8. Also, the Manny, Mo, and Jack quests at this time were much shorter. Nostalgia aside, upon release or shortly before, the Pirate101 website had a relatively large background and lore explanation, primarily under the first few options under the See the Game tab on the Pirate101 site. There is an article about the game's background and the current political situation in the aftermath of the Napoleonic Wars, a letter from Deacon to Kane about the piracy situation, concept art, characters, factions, information about the in-game worlds, and general gameplay tips and tutorials. However, one page is no longer accessible through this menu that used to be there. The letter from Marco Polio to Headmaster Merle Ambrose from Ravenwood. This letter is rather intriguing, making many claims that are later addressed in the game, primarily in Mushu and Valencia Part 2. It also implies that Merle Ambrose and Gamma assisted the explorer with finding El Dorado mathematically. The letter addresses also who built El Dorado, the Celestians, and how they unmoored the Stormgate from the spiral using astral magic. This letter is very cool, and I'm not sure why it cannot be accessed directly anymore. It contains a lot of lore and provides links between Wizard 101 and Pirate 101. It's still publicly available, but the link I found to access it was on Reddit. Pirate 101's plot is really great in general, but a lot of you amazing viewers likely already know the plot, so I will discuss aspects of the storytelling I really enjoy. The puppet shows are one of the most unique features of the game. They're fun to watch and tell the story in an interesting way from various perspectives. They also incorporate humor as well, which makes them rather charming and fun. The game also does a really good job with music in various areas, and really adds to the mood, whether you're exploring a neat city, exploring a dingy sewer, which you do quite a lot, mind you, or relaxing in a spiritual tribal settlement. The music and puppet shows are so good, in fact, I edited together long compilation videos of all the puppet shows and music soundtrack here on my channel for you to enjoy. We've already discussed battleboard combat, but there's another type of combat in the game. That's right, ship combat. I like how it goes a step beyond Pirates of the Caribbean and Pop Tropica, where you fire and hope your lame boring cannonballs hit the enemy ship. In Pirate 101, you automatically fire at the target ship. You do shoot cannonballs, yes, but you also have special powers from your figurehead, horn, wheel, and sails that send special attacks, summon magical creatures, much like Wizard 101, and heal or power up your ship's accuracy or defense. Attacks have a base accuracy and may miss the enemy ship, but these aspects of ship combat also make the game stand out from other pirate games and make it more unique. Ignoring the fact that you're in a skyway and sail on the clouds and the jet stream instead of the ocean, not a lot of pirate games do that. One more feature, PvP. Actually, no, I'm not going to talk about that. Not going to open that can of worms. Sorry.
Choose your pirate wisely.
Pirate 101 entered 2013 at a very high point for a new game. It won the MMORPG Game of the Year in 2012. Early 2013 contained a few smaller updates, polishing the game, including new critical text to distinguish between epic, mega, and super hits. The game's first major update occurred in May 2013, and it's probably the largest main story update in KingsIsle's history to this day. 2 new worlds, Marleybone and Aquila, which are books 13 and 14 respectively, for pirates to explore. Level cap was increased from 50 to 65, an increase of 15 levels. These 2 worlds are often some of the favorites among players, with Marleybone's World War II bombing of Britain-esque story being my personal favorite, with 2 Armada elites making an appearance. Aquila is also a very popular world, being home to many Greek mythological legends that were popular at the time thanks to the Percy Jackson series. New class-based housing, henchmen, and teleporters were added later in the summer of 2012. KingsIsle also had a very special visitor in July 2013. Ryan the Relentless came to visit thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and see the studio and experience a day of developing and working on Pirate 101. His character, Ryan the Relentless, has a Yuminade stand in Skull Island if you need to refill your health and potions. The first birthday occurred in October 2013 with interactable gift boxes that gave gold and loot, including some rental mounts, and a new permanent side quest called A Mysterious Monument for a very special new statue in Avery's Court. 2014 also began with a very important spring update. Pets got an improvement, including a pet pavilion type area for pet training, hatching, and for purchasing snacks, and a puppet show introducing pets to newer players. Pets, of course, are now more complex than leveling up with your character. They can earn stats, talents, and etc. as they level up. Unlike Wizard 101, however, pet training activities are not minigames. You can let your pet train while you go quest or do other activities in-game, or if you log off. This 2014 major update also made companions more complex. If your companions are defeated in combat, they go on bed rest for a period of time to heal up. You can wake up a companion from bed rest to continue using them in combat, but at a cost of lower health. Thankfully, this bed rest timer and healing timer run while you log off. If you don't want to wait, you can pay Miracle Mitch in Avery's Court an exorbitant fee to heal your defeated units. Companions can also be sent on tasks to gain experience for themselves, collect nautical XP for you, or collect gear, pet items, among other things. These tasks can make nautical XP less of a grind, and possibly help out with your gold or training tome deficiencies. These timers also run if you're logged out. Finally, the spring 2014 update expanded the Manny, Mo, and Jack quests, including some new zones and removing the older versions of their quests. Later in 2014, an optional side dungeon came out, the Tower of Mu Manchu, expanding on a side quest line introduced in Mushu upon launch. This tower is home to some very nefarious battles and can be very hard to solo. There's also an option in one battle to turn your pirate to the dark side as an enemy for your friends to defeat. As a reward, you get a Nefarious 6th badge that gives you red glowing eyes. The Mu Manchu Tower also gives most of the best and accessible loot in-game, making it a popular farming spot to this day. After this tower, KingsIsle Entertainment shifted most of their resources for Pirate 101 to their mobile game department. Another late 2014 update introduced ship cabins, which is another decoratable house, and a black market to spend scrip you collect from ship combat. This ended the more frequent updates and marked the end of Pirate 101's golden age. Popularity began to drop as less new content was arriving annually for players. One update occurred in 2015, introducing a unique nautical-based dungeon. The dungeon is very lengthy and requires multiple pirates to complete. You essentially take down enemy ships. 5 boss ships will also appear as you go along and must be faced in deck combat instead of broadside. This dungeon is rather unpopular and people do not farm here as much as Mu Manchu. However, the script rewards for this dungeon are quite high. Months passed with little news of Pirate 101 until early 2016, when teasers began surfacing for an upcoming update. Players' prayers were answered in April that year when, during a KI Live, Valencia Part 2, or Book 15, was announced with a teaser video showing the new Calabria Skyway and the major city of Florenza within Valencia. Test Realm came in May, with the official launch in-game coming in June 2016. Pirates can now level up to 70 and finalize the first arc of the game, with the final dungeon involving the defeat of Kane and all the other Armada elites. The book felt rather rushed to most players, with zero acknowledgement of the map pieces held by Kane and El Dorado being swept under the rug. This, however, was not the plan by Blind Mew, the main story writer. For the first few years of Pirate 101, Blind Mew had a few threads called Blind Mew's Musings on the message boards, where he would answer players' story-based questions. That would be telling was a very famous answer that he would often give when a player asked a question that would involve major spoilers. According to a Blind Mew post from 2014, Book 15 was initially slated to come out in 2014, likely in the fall update, since the spring update contained a lot of different things. However, this didn't occur, likely thanks to KI's shift to mobile games instead of Pirate 101. And this thread from 2013 showed an already planned Book 18 that was expected to be a doozy, according to his plan. When the 15th book did release, Blind Mew's Musings made a long-awaited return, and in this thread he posted a rough outline of what his original story was. The outline is very vague and world names are not really included, but I'm certain that if this was fully fleshed out, it would be an amazing story for Pirate 101 to have. We can see that Book 18 was planned out to be quite a longer story, hence the fact that it was going to be a doozy. The Book 15 that we did get is a very abridged and abbreviated version of his original outline. You can see some of Book 15's plot points in this rough outline in some of the other books. It is truly a shame that Blind Mew wasn't given his opportunity to tell a really fleshed out story for the later 1/3 of the El Dorado arc. All I have to ask is, why King's Isle? But we can appreciate that we got Book 15, which, given some of the unfortunate circumstances I've already explained, had a decent plot ending to the arc. However, this isn't even the only issue in Book 15's development. Not long after Valencia Part 2 was announced, King's Isle laid off several employees in the spring of 2016. This included much of Pirate 101's development staff. They had likely been putting finishing touches on the new update of the story before getting laid off, and then the update launched in May and June. In fact, in December 2021's KI Live, the developers said that the company has to hire all new people for Pirate 101 development to create assets for future updates.
You're going to need to keep that patience just a little bit longer. This doesn't mean that we have anything ready to go out next week or even next month. To do this right, we have a lot of pre-production work to do. For example, we don't have anybody at KI that has ever made ships. or Skyways before. All those folks have moved on, so we've lost some of that knowledge. We have some really, really dusty game design spreadsheets and balancing spreadsheets that are year out of date. So we need to dust off a lot of pipelines to get them flowing again. And the time it will take isn't insignificant, but we're already starting that process now. Also, we can't just do this with the team we have in-house. Sure, many of them will be involved. I don't think I could keep Blind Mew or Ratbeard out of pirate development even if I tried, and I don't want to try. I want them involved. But if we were to switch over to Pirate Full Throttle and start an update right now, it would cost us wizard features next year. So see the job board. Are you a 3D artist? Are you an animator? Are you a designer? Are you a producer? Are you a marketing manager? And there's probably more that I'm not even mentioning right now. Then please apply and you could potentially contribute to the future of Pirate yourself.
Anyways, after the defeat of Kane at the end of the current main story, there is a cutscene of the Queen who survived unlike her comrades. I suppose KI did this to start off a story for any future books to possibly continue a main storyline. Yet here we are, 6 years later, with nothing. Later in 2016, we get another update, giving us a side dungeon, the Ashes of the Armada. The concept is rather cool, with haywire Armada troops that didn't quite deactivate after Kane's defeat. The mini dungeon provides some cool weapons and some Wizard 101 housing items, primarily from Crocotopia and Dragonspire. These same items also came in the loot tables for the Ashes of the Armada pack in the Crown Shop. With Valencia Part 2 having been released, many in the community were hopeful and optimistic about more frequent updates. Updates for a while became a once a year primarily. 2017's update introduced a pretty interesting side quest line involving diplomats from Monquista, Marleybone, Polaris, and Valencia. The quests are based on your pirate's level, including the daily mini-quests that involve doing errands for each of the 4 diplomats. This update also introduced ship PvP, which can be accessed through a portal near the Regatta portal in Skull Island, and takes place in a cool ranch, canyon, skyway type of area. Unfortunately, the ship PvP stuff never really became popular. If you go into the ship PvP area today, there will probably be no one else around. Updates in 2018 introduced skeleton key bosses, including one for Old Scratch's 3rd promotion at level 70. Other popular bosses like the Brass Monkey, Captain Blood, and the Duck of Death also got new key boss upgrades. These bosses provide quite a challenge, with many of them being level 75 to 85. A 2019 update in the fall period came for the 7th birthday of the game. This one introduced 2 new skeleton key bosses, Evil Ratbeard and Evil Bonnie Ann. These bosses are in the same level and challenge range as the other ones introduced a year earlier. This 2019 update also reduced first-time user difficulty, making earlier level gameplay easier and reducing by half the nautical XP required to level up. This is a nice change, as prior to the update, nautical XP was much more of a grind. The update also came with a producer's letter, which brought some unfortunate news. Pirate 101 updates will be going away for a while. Yup, KingsIsle kind of gave up on Pirate 101 at this point. The game became deader than ever, with only a handful of players online at a time. In January 2021, KingsIsle Entertainment was acquired by MGI, a European MMO company. The acquisition article discussed both Pirate 101 and Wizard 101. The community saw this as a glimmer of hope, and many Pirate 101 community leaders on social media organized a revival on January 24th that year. Throughout the next few months, the game became more popular. Wizard 101 players in the community who never touched Pirate 101 ended up trying it and enjoying the game. The first Pirate 101 update in nearly 2 years came out in June 2021. This update was rather small, but a new side quest was added, helping Sinbad's crew find their captain. The dungeon is fairly challenging, but it can be soloed for most pirates. The dungeon is located in a free zone as well in the Devilfish Hollow, so max level pirates without a membership can enjoy. The quest ends with a "to be continued," hinting that the Sinbad storyline may be continued in future updates. Another update also happened earlier this year in the summer, adding 4 weekly cycling skeleton key bosses: a relic, lead, royal, and coral key. Each one presents a unique challenge, with many of them being soloable for even casual players like myself. The quests to get the keys are daily quests that you can repeat every day to build up your supply of keys and farm bosses with your friends. I haven't received any of the valuable loot from these new key bosses, but they're rare drops for a reason. Another update was announced for later in 2022. However, as I'm writing the script and recording, nothing has been announced yet. The update will likely be occurring during October for the 10th birthday, so stay tuned for more info. I hope you all enjoyed this look into Pirate 101's history. It has certainly been an interesting 10 years getting to sail around the spiral. I of course made this documentary all by myself, so I probably didn't or couldn't cover everything. Any feedback or additional information in the comments is welcome. As for the future of the game, I am skeptically optimistic. Updates are slowly returning, but I wouldn't be surprised if we never actually reach the golden city of El Dorado. At least not in Pirate 101. If you want to see more Pirate 101 related content, you can check out the other Pirate 101 videos posted on my channel, including gameplay, soundtrack, and puppet shows. And if you're interested in checking out any of the sources for the content of this video, check out the links below in the description. Have a great day, and see you in the spiral. Bye everyone.